I'm Kara Williams of Inner Alchemy Astrology, and today I'd like to talk a little more about shadow work through the signs. Today we're going to discuss Scorpio, and Scorpio is one of my favorite signs. It's deep, it's mystical, it's powerful, and I happen to have a stellium in Scorpio, so I'm quite familiar with this sort of energy. And now, Scorpio energy already is pretty shadowy. Scorpios tend to be very familiar with the shadow through their lives, the hardships they face, their personal challenges, and their own powerful and strong emotions. So let's refresh on what shadow work is if you haven't watched the other videos. But first, this will be relevant to you if you have Scorpio in your big three, your ascendant or rising sign, your sun sign, or your moon sign, or if, like me, you don't have Scorpio in any of those signs, but you have a stellium, a congregation of planets in that sign. And you can tell what that is by Googling, say go to astro.com and then draw up one of the chart calculators, put in your information, and you can see where all of the planets were when you were born. Now, shadow work is a notion popularized by psychologist Carl Jung, and it entails doing the sort of spiritual inner work or psychological inner work that is a matter of uncovering what you have repressed, what you have suppressed. So when you're doing shadow work, you are shining the light of your consciousness on dark shadows. You are illuminating them. You are drawing you are bringing to light what was once unconscious, what was once in the darkness, what was once down below, not visible, up into the light with mindfulness and attention. And inner child work. I have a video on inner child work that's quite new. You should take a look at that. A strong basis of shadow work is inner child work. Now, why is that? That's because for most of us, what is in our shadow, what we repress, what we deny, what we don't like to see, it often stems from childhood wounds. Things that happened to us when we were young, things that we wish we were over by now, aspects of ourself that we never really liked. And most of us at some point in our lives have had at least one side of ourselves that we didn't enjoy, or that we were told is bad or unwelcome or unlikable or just not accepted by society. Now, I for one am a black sheep. I'm not really like my family, and it's very easy for people who are black sheeps to feel like there's something wrong with them. There's something that's not acceptable. Now, part of doing the shadow work is owning it. You can own the parts of yourself that you were disowning, that you were putting into exile, and you can derive great strength from that. Now, Scorpios we know are deep, emotional, intuitive, sensitive, strong, powerful. It's a sign that's co-ruled by Pluto and an ancient ruler from Mars. So Mars, we think of fighting, war. Scorpio can be a fighter. Also, it's co-ruled by Pluto, the dwarf planet. So Pluto is the planet of crisis, transformation, upheaval. And so Scorpio has a tendency to be able to roll with transformations, to experience crisis, death, and rebirth, and transform themselves. Now, it doesn't mean it's not painful. Scorpios tend to be very sensitive to pain and can sometimes armor themselves. They have the stinger, like a Scorpio can be very defensive and protective. But they can also be loyal, passionate, intelligent, incisive, cathartic. There's many good qualities to Scorpio, which is often considered to be one of the signs that is most reviled by others. People think Scorpios are oversexed, betraying, cheating, jealous, conniving, all of these things. So those can be the shadow side of Scorpio, and any sign, any person is able to manifest the different sides of the sign. It kind of depends if you've done your shadow work, right? So wouldn't we all like to be able to go through the fire, come out like the phoenix, and go into the fire and come out victorious? Now that's the potential of Scorpio. So some of the shadow aspects of Scorpio, the shadow aspect of passion can be obsession, You know, the shadow aspect of loyalty can be betrayal. Someone who fears betrayal can try to be the first one to betray others to avoid it. It's sort of paradoxical. Someone who, you know, fears loss can leave someone first out of a sense of defensiveness, or just be overly clingy, stalkery. Now, a lot of Scorpios these days, you can imagine they do a lot of social media creeping, this sort of thing. So a lot of Scorpios are very afraid of losing people, you know? The loss just seems like a death to them. Scorpios, I often say there's three things that matter to them: sex, death, and religion. Now, these words can be used in all kinds of ways, but these aspects of life are the most compelling to a Scorpio. Sexuality is the great catharsis, the great transformer, the great merging and melding, and water signs love to meld with their partner. They love to meld with the world, everything, be boundaryless. But when a Scorpio trusts you and loves you, they will just meld with you in that beautiful fashion that can be so alchemical and transformative. But sometimes Scorpios don't, or they're afraid of that sort of loss. They're afraid of that sort of letting go, and they might just get their needs met through sexuality. There's a Mars-ruled sign. Mars is the sign of sexuality and passion. So, yes, sexual compulsions and obsessions, emotional obsessions, mental obsessions can be a part of it. Now, being overly sarcastic, Scorpios can be very sarcastic. Very funny, but also can be kind of mean. You know, that stinger, if they're feeling backed into a corner, if they're feeling like somehow that you're going to attack them, they can defensively attack you first. And that's usually the way Scorpios roll. They usually attack when they're feeling in danger, and they will give you that sting. Cunning, manipulation, these control games, again, they're related to loss. They're related to fear of losing control. Now that relates a little more to Pluto than Mars. Scorpios are desperately afraid of losing control because they feel out of control. They feel like life is just a mess of crisis and endings and deaths, and you get close to someone and then they leave you or whatever. It's just all very painful because they feel things so strongly. Now, the most powerful thing that a Scorpio can do is to claim their shadows. To claim that inner child that is so afraid of loss, and to realize that life is never going to be without loss. We are all going to die. We have the cycles of life that involve birth, growth, death, and that's just part of existence. And Scorpios are familiar with life and death, and the way that transformation is just a natural part of that. Now, if you can do the work that lets you be comfortable with these cycles and lets you see that you will survive. You are a survivor and you can make it through. You can lose anything and come out of it so much stronger. Just tap into that essential nature and do your particular shadow work. Because most Scorpios, like most people, will have particular wounds. Childhood wounds, core issues, I'm not good enough, no one can be trusted. These sort of like phrases that we tell ourselves, these sort of things that we do that form our core behaviors and our responses, our reactivity to things. Paranoia, like Scorpios are so intuitive and, you know, in tune and sensitive that their minds are just reeling, that they can often feel that they know what someone is thinking, or they know what someone is up to, or they know so-and-so is planning something against them. But really, it's coming from the mind, you know? It's not coming from the heart. It's not coming... They might get a little hint of something, but really try to be aware and mindful of the ways that your core wounds are acting as a filter, you know, as a wall, a fortress around you that keeps you from actually seeing what's really going on. Strive for radical honesty and learn that you're not going to get your needs met unless you can be open with your partners about your needs, and don't be afraid to actually come clean about what you really need, you know? Like, so you're an intense person, so you're passionate. A lot of people love that about you. Don't be ashamed of yourself. Shame is a very low vibration. Shame is a low vibration, one of the lowest that you can have, and just because lots of people don't understand you dig into that. Realize that's what makes me special. It's what makes me different. Not everyone is going to understand you. Let go of your fears. Let go of your abandonment issues. Work through that and work on honesty, and you'll find that you have tremendous power of regeneration and renewal. The opposite sign of Scorpio is Taurus, and Taurus is a little bit more simple, just sensual, peaceful, calm, artistic, and there is the shadow of that. The opposite sign operates in a sense of duality. The Scorpio can learn to tap into that shadow energy of Taurus and learn to be comfortable in your own skin, in your body, in the moment, in the present. And crawl out of your web from time to time, the web that you're weaving of your thoughts, your emotions, the plans, all the plots, all of that complexity, and realize that sometimes you're getting yourself all wrapped up in your own web, You're overthinking things. You are being too paranoid, trying to anticipate what's going to happen next. Learn to trust that what happens next could possibly be way better than what you ever hatched up in your web. So learn that some people are trustworthy. You can open up and speak your fears to your loved ones, share with them, be vulnerable. Even a Scorpion has to have a soft underbelly. There are people that you can trust, and just vet them, use your sensitivity, but try to be objective about the way that you think, the way that you judge people, the way that you think you can perceive patterns, because you can be wrong. You're often right, Scorpio, but sometimes you're wrong. So realize that when you own your fears and that when you do the shadow work, you're going to be even more powerful. You're going to be so much stronger through the process of transformation that you won't even believe the changes that happen within yourself. And I know you like power, so just let that percolate through your head. Now, this was Inner Alchemy Astrology, and I have a new website. You can follow the link on my YouTube page and check it out. I'm offering astrology and tarot readings for very reasonable prices while I'm finishing my studies. And if you like this video, then give it a like and subscribe so you know when my next one will come out. Thank you very much.